Huge win for us. Huge win at home. Really, really proud of our team. I think probably the most remarkable thing, we really talked about our ability to have to defend today. And, they're a team coming into the game, averaged 88 points. And to hold this team to 54 points is it's just outstanding job by our kids.
We've seen how hard it is for years to beat those two Iowa teams in back-to-back games. You guys were able to do it, and today do it in this fashion. You got to see this team starting to roll at this point. Just what are you starting to see in this team?
Well, no question, it's hard to win in this league against any team we play, and certainly this was a heavy weekend for us. To go on the road and to play at Belmont and then Murray State and then to turn around, come home and have these two heavy hitters. It's a tough stretch, but really proud of our kids, proud of the way that they just continued to battle, and we were by far from playing a perfect game. That's the exciting thing. I think we did some really, really good things both ends of the floor, but we certainly, as a coach, there are a lot of things that can still improve, and there's still a lot of areas that we need to continue to get better. But as I always say, I'd always rather learn these lessons from winning than from losing. And our kids did a great job. I thought Anaya and Sydney really just were outstanding. I couldn't take them off the floor, and certainly I think Sid's experience having played the style of Drake and understanding what it's like, she was huge for us today. Obviously had great stats across the board, but she did so many things that won't show up on a stat sheet. I know that she obviously had 6 steals, but just some of her defensive effort, and there was no bigger three than the 3 that she hit. When it was a 5-point game, we were really stagnant on offense, and she buried a 3 off a drag screen. That was huge for us. That's the type of plays that she just continues to make.
When you talk defensively, you hold them to 38.6%. That's one of the better 3-point shooting teams. Maybe I think the best in the league. And you hold them 4 of 16. Just what was working so well for you guys on that end to limit them?
Well, I think really both these last two teams, we knew coming in, both of them were averaging 8 or 9 made threes a game. Obviously a huge strength of theirs. This team was no different. Certainly had concerns from the 3-point line, but I feel like they have good balance, being able to mix it up, going inside, but they just do such a great job getting paint touches, which then open up the 3-point shot. And so it's a hard guard. It was certainly something we were concerned about, but I think we gave up 3 threes in the first half, maybe only 1 in the second. Is that right? And the one in the second was out of a transition play that I could tell it was coming 5 minutes before it actually happened. It's kind of trying to screen our coverages, but to be able to hold them, a team that really thrives on knocking down the 3-point shot, that was huge. Our kids just had great awareness. I thought we were really disciplined with our closeouts, taking away the 3-point shot, and then just staying down and trying to contain the ball.
Coach, do you have any update on Izzy Deller? We know we saw her in the boot.
Yeah, to be honest, that's probably one of the things. If you would have told me heading in we're going to lose Izzy and then beat Murray State and UNI and Drake, that's a tough challenge. So to be able to do this without her makes it even more special, because obviously she's such a key contributor to what we're doing. But she has stress fracture right now, so I don't know the exact timetable. Certainly we want her sooner rather than later, but I know it's going to be a little bit of time. I think she goes back in another week or so to the doctor, but she'll be out for a little bit. So
by shortening your bench, 7-person rotation, Anaya, Sydney, 40 minutes, and then rotating the other 5. Any concerns with that in terms of players being tired, or is that something you guys can do until Izzy gets back?
Something we're going to have to do. I ideally don't want to have, play 7 kids. Ideally, I don't want to have to play Anaya and Sid 40 minutes. But because of foul trouble tonight, it sort of shortened our rotation, being able to, with what a lot of times we'll end up going 4 guards. And, then when you have India, Jade, and KT, it forces you to play 4 guards when those guys are in foul trouble. So we'll kind of mix up between double bigs and 4 guards, and obviously use Sid in both. But when you're in foul trouble, it made it more difficult. And then with Izzy being out, the majority of those minutes have gone to Taylor. I think she's done a great job coming in and hit 2 huge threes tonight for us. I always tell our kids, anytime there's a negative, you find a positive in that. And so I think probably, I'm hoping one of the biggest things out of this, I mean, Taylor's really getting an opportunity to play and to grow and develop. I think Jaden Bryant's going to have an opportunity to do the same. Just the last 2 days the last 2 games didn't necessarily happen, but to be able to get some more experience for those kids will be huge. So then when we can then add Izzy back in, hopefully it gives us a little bit more depth, because depth is definitely a concern for us.
I don't know how stress fractures work. Is that something they tell you weeks, months? Have they given you any sort of indication of what that looks like?
I know it's a minimum of 2 weeks. Yeah, she went back or went to the doctor last week, and they said, come back in 2 weeks. So she'll be back in a week. We'll see how it's healing. But in addition to that, you're looking at return to play. So it's even once she gets cleared, it's not like she's just jumping out there and suddenly playing again. So you have to return to play and whatnot. So I don't know, but whenever our kids. I've been on enough teams and coached enough teams that, you go through adversity throughout the season. Every team's going through something. Injuries are part of it. It's unfortunate right now, but I think we can hopefully find the silver lining in it. And our kids are doing a great job stepping up with their opportunities. And hopefully it'll just be that much more of a bonus when we get her back.
What about the growth of Taylor? I was just kind of touching on that a little more. Those back-to-back threes were kind of big for you guys as well. Just seeing her kind of have those flashes when we know how good of a scorer she's been in the past, but she's had knee injuries and other things setting her back since she's been here.
Yeah, I'm really proud of her. It's funny because I think you can look at maybe just the last couple games where everybody else has seen her get more significant minutes, but I really felt like after Christmas she came back really focused. We'd had some conversations. I try to communicate as much as I can with kids as far as, these are things you're doing really well. These are areas where you need to get better. And, she'd come to me like, Coach, what else do I need to do? And, early in the season was just really clear with her. And she's come in and she's just stayed hungry and she's continued to work on it. And then obviously I continue to just give her feedback of here's the things you have improved on. And, so I thought she came back from Christmas just really focused, really dialed in. And it maybe didn't necessarily translate right away, but she did play some wasn't significant minutes, but they were key minutes for us. Even at Evansville, at Indiana State, right out of Christmas. And, even the games that she wasn't playing a lot, she had a great attitude. We just talked about it and felt like it was really important for her to be getting court workouts in. And so she came in and she was doing some really intense court workouts. And I tell the team, like, even if you're not playing right now, like, you always have to keep yourself ready, and mentally and physically. And so, that's hard sometimes, but I think she had the right approach. She had a great approach. And then before you know it, her minutes increased a little bit. And then, Izzy ends up going out. So I feel like she was ready for that. It wasn't suddenly like she wasn't doing what she was supposed to be doing from a mental and physical standpoint. She gets thrown in the mix and just having success. Like, she put herself in that position leading up to that. And I think that's why we had the confidence in her. And I think that's why she had the confidence in herself, because she had been doing the work ahead of time. And then the opportunity came about and she was ready for it.
You say you had conversations with Taylor. When we talked to Jade just now, she said the same thing about having conversations with you that's led to her having this little stretch that she's on right now. She goes 4 straight games and double figures for points. Just what were some of those things she needed to work on, and how is she starting to turn into the player that we all thought she could be here?
Well, I just felt like she was being really passive, and sometimes as a freshman it's easy to kind of sit back and think like, oh, well, I'm just a freshman, it's not really maybe my time or my turn. And it's like, and I just told her, I was like, Jade, we are counting on you. Like, we need you to be there to step up and not have that mentality. And she's a very high IQ kid. She's very unselfish. And I thought she was just being really passive. She would come out of games and it was great. She would have 5 assists. She'd have 5 assists and no turnovers, but I felt like she had opportunities to score and she wasn't taking advantage of it. She wasn't looking at the basket. And so I got on her. We watched film and had some conversation, and like, that's her role, that's her job. And so whatever your role is, whatever your job is, you have to do it to the best of your ability. And then if you don't like what your role and job is, like, you work like heck to change it, right? And I felt like Jade wasn't giving us everything that she had. I felt like she had more in the tank, and I just didn't want her to settle for just thinking, well, I'm just a freshman that's playing some minutes. Like, no, she can change our team. She does change our team. And so really it was after the Valpo game, she came out and I really think started to be much more aggressive. We saw really good signs in the Belmont game. She just had a different mentality. And obviously we were short end of the stick, but I thought Jade played really well that game. And I think it was a big confidence booster for her. And then it led to the Murray State game and obviously last game and this game. And so that's what she's capable of. She still has a ton of room to improve, but that's what we need from her. We need her defending. We need her rebounding. We need her scoring. And then when she has her opportunity to make the reads and make the right passes, she's got to do that too. But she's more than capable. And when she shows up like this, we're a different team.
Hey, Coach, real quick for me. You're talking about pushing buttons of different players and pushing them in the right way. Why is it so important that it's not just you pushing, but them wanting to do the work, wanting to get better, as opposed to taking your coaching and saying, I don't want to work that hard?
Yeah, it's hard. It's always a challenge, and sometimes it's continuing to build on the good things that they're doing, but also making them aware of here's some areas where you need to improve, and it's not always. We handle every game, whether it's a win or a loss, the same way. We're going to watch individual film. We're going to pull out the things that you need to get better at, the things that you're doing well collectively as a team. But it's them wanting to embrace that and just having, we've got a great group of kids. We've got a really good group of kids. They want to be good, and I think that they've embraced that. I think they understand we really care about them, and hopefully we're trying to put them in the best position possible to be successful. And it's not always easy. It takes a lot of hard work on their part. But there's nothing more rewarding than when they're up against a little bit of face of adversity or having a struggle, and then it finally clicks for them. There's nothing more rewarding as a coach than to see them continue just to battle and find a way. And then I think when it does click, it just reinforces the things we've already been talking about.